How's it going, everyone? Welcome into episode 3 of the KREF High School Huddle. Connor Pasby, Grayson Singleton alongside with you. Plenty of stuff to get into. What we saw last week, some things ahead for this week, basketball, wrestling. We got everything covered on krefsports.tv. But Thursday, January 30th, what we saw last week for basketball, Southmoore and Westmoore going at it. The SaberCats boys picked up a big-time win over Westmoore, 64-51. Grayson Tyson Pogai finished the game with 31 points, and he had that impressive 360 layup that we saw. And here's that highlight.
And the assist by Grant Barnard. Tips is up off the glass and one. Wow.
Grayson, this kid just keeps making impressive play after impressive play, and he's leading that offense for Southmoore this year.
Only a sophomore, right?
Only sophomore.
He's gonna be a special player, hyper athletic. Can get up in the air, do some crazy stuff like you just saw. He had the flu in this game.
Played with the flu. Yep.
He was sick, and I can say I've never done that before. But the Southmoore team's really cool, man. It's really well constructed. They've got athletes everywhere. They're versatile, switchable. There's never really a mismatch on the floor for them. And that's shown. I mean, right now we're at this point in the season. They've only lost 3 games. So this is a team that you're looking at potentially for the Final 8.
They will play Norman North this Friday night. We will have that game covered on krefsports.tv. The T-Wolves are also have a great record in District 1. They are 7-3 in district play. We will talk about that matchup toward the end of the show. We also had wrestling that day last Thursday, Deer Creek, the district duels. The Antlers defeated Westmoore to clinch their ticket to dual state. It came down to the wire, and it came down to the final match. Freshman Cash Province won it for Deer Creek, and it sounded like this.
He's hanging on, nothing. 10 seconds. Province is about to get it. He got it.
Oh!
They're going to dual state. 35-29. They're going to dual state. Look at them.
Wow.
That's his
Fired
son.
up.
That's his son right there.
And that, folks, is your High Five Media play of the game. The Antlers finished the season with a 16-2 record. Only losses coming to arguably the top 2 teams in 6A in Stillwater and Eben North. Grayson, you've seen this Deer Creek wrestling team. What impressive season they have had.
They're loaded. They are a loaded team. They don't have a weakness anywhere. Cash Province, by the way, is a freshman. He's the one that sent them to dual state with that last win at 144, I believe is what it was, to defeat Westmoore. His older brother is going to wrestle in college. He's down to 2 schools. Talked to him last night. Talked to Coach Russell Caldwell last night at the Deer Creek wrestling show. And this whole season has been in the making for 6 years. Russell Caldwell took over when this group of seniors were 7th graders. He moved up with them to high school, and he's been their only coach ever since. And he told me last night, I had bookmarked 2024-2025 as the year that we were going to do something special. They did something special last year. They got to dual state a season ago when they really didn't expect to. And this year, they were able to build upon that, and now they had a really dominant regular season. They're a major player in the 6A dual state because they have no weaknesses along their entire lineup.
They are building a powerhouse over there at Deer Creek. As we move over to basketball, Keeley Parks, what a special moment that she had last Friday. She broke the all-time scoring record at Norman High, passing Stacy Hansmeyer. And Andrew Himes got to speak with Keeley Parks in an in-game interview, and here's what Keeley had to say about that special moment.
Keeley Parks joining us courtside, and Keeley, first of all, great game today.
Thank you.
But the bigger news today is the special recognition. You passed the all-time great Stacy Hansmeyer in the scoring list for Norman. How do you feel when you hear that sentence spoken back to you?
It's a great feeling. Honestly, I got goosebumps.
What has been your best memory thus far playing for the Tigers?
Probably going to the state championship. I mean, we did lose, but it was just like a surreal feeling to be there.
And to be able to do it with your family as close as they are to this program. Obviously, your dad, the head coach, but tell us about what that's been like, just having your family that close when you've been able to put your name in the record book?
Yeah, it's really nice, and I got to play with my sister freshman year. I didn't really play much because injuries, but it was fun to have her. She was a really good leader, and yeah, and having my dad. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but it's been fun overall.
And Grayson, what a career Keeley Parks has had. You probably can't think of another player that makes that much of an impact for her team. Just racking up the stat sheet, not just the scoring, but the defense, assists, putting her teammates in great spots. She's doing it all for that Norman team.
You know, she does everything, and she does everything humbly too. I mean, she's really quiet, really reserved. But I mean, when she gets on the court, she's ready to play. And I love how she does it so humbly. As part of this team. She's still going to get down a stance and guard. She's still going to throw her body around and jump passing lanes and do all that dirty stuff. She's one of the better rebounders on the team as well. And credit to Norman for, I think, what they do better this year. And I've said this before on broadcast. I may have said it before on this show too. They can play around her and not through her 100% of the time. They've got other girls that can initiate offense, other girls that can pass and create their own shot and knock down shots as well. And as far as this team went last year, I think this team could go even further this year for exactly that point.
And it's not just Keeley. They're still waiting on Addie Hibble, who's been out for the whole season with that ACL. So you could possibly add another player like her toward the end of the year
potentially
to provide some more spark for that offense.
And she's good. And she's good. She's experienced. She's a veteran as well. So that's only going to help. But, you know, eventually everything's going to come down to her. But I love how they're just able to move her off the ball and not expose her to as much contact and as much usage as they did a season ago.
We had a few big-time matchups from Tuesday that we had a few days ago for basketball. Man, we were hyping up these two games between Broken Arrow and Eben North, two top teams in 6A. Girls District 4 between the Tigers and the Huskies. The Lady Tigers defeated Eben North 52-46. They were led by their star, Mackenzie Mathurin. Mathurin finished with the game with 27 points. And the season for Mackenzie Mathurin, Grayson, averaging over 22 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. So she's another talented player that we have in the 6A girls basketball level, and she continues to pick up her game throughout the whole season, and she is leading the way for Broken Arrow.
Well, I mean, you can see why she was as highly sought after as she was coming out of BA, eventually signing with Michigan. Great two-guard with a handle. Can 3-level scorer, still likes the mid-range as well, but also can get her teammates involved. Pretty good defender and a solid rebounder, too. She's got good size. And she puts all of that on display every single night. I like the motor she plays with, and she's just really, really one of the more fun players to watch that I've seen. And don't give her any space, even if she's 5 feet behind the arc, because she can launch it and stick it from that far out as well.
The Broken Arrow boys continued their winning streak Tuesday night with a road win at Eben North, 60-50. They have now won 10 in a row, and they are 10-0 in district play. The season for the Tigers for Broken Arrow, what stands out for them is the size that they have in their starting lineup. Everyone over 6 foot, a few guys at 6'6", so they got a lot of length on the floor, and they are giving teams problems.
I mean, they should give guys problems with Shockley and then Corbin Dow, whose older brother plays at Oklahoma State. I think Corbin could potentially be a more versatile player at the college level than his brother is right now. But you're talking about size. That's where you get your size. You've got, their leading scorer, DJ Howell, who has been on a tear recently, leading them offensively to this point right now at 10-0, and just good Lord, the basketball program at Broken Arrow has really exploded. I mean, you've got a girls and a boys team that is 10-0 in the district. That's pretty special right there.
Well, we've seen Eben North do this the last few years for not only the girls and the boys, and Broken Arrow's doing about the same. It's been really fun to watch them play this year. As we move on to the other game that we had, Eben Memorial and Norman North. That game was at Norman North. And the Lady Bulldogs were able to survive on the road. They ended up being a great game. They clawed their way to a 67-60 win over Norman North. Janiyah Williams, that was the player that stood out for them. Man, racking up the stat sheet, Grayson. She had 34 points, 18 rebounds, and 4 assists. She's doing that, 5'7", 5'8" guard, grabbing 18 rebounds. That was really impressive to see.
Some people just want it.
Yeah.
And she likes to go in there with the trees and get the ball. That is a skill. That is a mindset that certain players have, even no matter how tall or how big you are. I mean, that's an Anthony Davis type stat line right there. I mean, she's good. She's good at sensing space, carving out space, and her and Avery Jumstead. It's a perfect combination.
It is.
They play off each other so well. They get their teammates involved too. This is going to be a fun team to watch. If the bracket falls for them right, because I do think there are some spots in the Bulldogs lineup where they could be had, but if the bracket falls right and Avery and Janiyah are leading this as the two heads of the snake, and they can combine for the usual 45 that they can combine for, it's a pretty dangerous team. Could be a dark horse.
And last night, Blake Gamble had the Ed Memorial girls team at Buffalo Wild Wings, and he sent us a clip of Janiyah Williams. You can just see the confidence that Janiyah Williams has, and that's really showing on the court for sure.
I knew it was going in, but just like the Mustang fans and some of their girls were talking mess, so it just made it feel sweeter. That's all. That's my
Is that just motivation?
Absolutely.
Should away team, should the fans just should they not do that? Are they just poking the bear, so to speak?
Yeah, if they don't want their daughters to get embarrassed, then they better shut up. That's all I'm gonna say. Yep.
Oh God.
I mean, it does, and I think it starts with the fact that she likes to throw herself into the fray for rebounds. And when you're out there out-physicaling your opponent and mentally dominating and establishing, I am better than you, I am here, and I am the best one out here, then that can translate to offense. You can become a slasher, you can become a shooter, and that confidence is already sky high. So that's what I love to see from her.
The Norman North boys won a defensive battle last night. Feels like they've been doing that every game, putting it on the defensive side. They won 43-31. Grayson, the score, I looked at the score a few nights ago. The score was 41-30 with 4 minutes and 41 seconds left. There was only 4 points scored the rest of the way. The T-Wolves continue to play at an elite level, and it starts on the defensive end for them.
It should. I mean, that is a team that is long, it is switchable, and it's versatile. They've got really good speed and quickness at their bigger positions. And I think that sort of a game plan starts with Hezekiah Green, because he can guard not just other threes, other fours, but at 6'3", I saw Kellen McCoy switch him on to Clyde Davis Jr. against Deer Creek, and that really sparked Norman North getting back into that game about a month and a half ago, ultimately winning it at the buzzer. So his versatility defensively, to me, is what starts all of this. And if they need to go on a stretch where they need to get 3, 4, 5 stops in a row, it starts right there when they can switch him onto the other team's primary ball handler, whether that primary ball handler is 6'2" or he's a shifty 5'9" dude. His versatility is what leads this team.
And we look ahead to the big-time matchup that we have tomorrow night on Friday. It is Southmoore and Norman North. They get the rematch. Woo! Southmoore defeated Norman North 56-54 last Tuesday, so they get another crack at it. And we talk about keys to the game, Grace. And I think for Southmoore, when you go on the road like this and the defense that Norman North has, the key is to protect the basketball and get to the free throw line. If Southmoore can do that, they're probably going to find themselves in a good spot to the end of that fourth quarter.
And just to piggyback off the last comments, does Hezekiah Green see a lot of action on Tyson Pogai? How are you going to create a game plan to stop him? Sure, Josiah Thomas is a fun, good, gritty defensive point guard. But if you need to get a bigger guy on him to close that airspace and really just be suffocating and have that kind of effect, maybe you see a lot of Hezekiah Green. I do think both of these teams are switchable. I think both of them come and go with the way they like to shoot a lot of threes. I think Norman North plays a style of offensive basketball that can ebb and flow as well, and I think that's the same for Southmoore. So keep an eye on that. Which team can avoid going on the longer scoring droughts? I think that team is going to win the game.
And we talk about what could make the difference in the game. We know the star players that Southmoore and Norman North has. Tyson Pogai for Southmoore, Hezekiah Green for Norman North. But who's going to be that second guy for the SaberCats and the T-Wolves? And it could be a guy like Brammer or Southmoore. And I know Norman North's got some options too. So, Grayson, who do you think can be that second guy for Norman North that could step up and get a win at home?
Well, just real quick on the Southmoore point, Carson Brammer has to have a really good game.
Yeah.
I think that is an imperative that he play well. I think for Norman North, we keep forgetting about the guy that's been offered by Mary Hardin Baylor, Luke Bauman. And I know
another guy with size.
Exactly,
Yeah.
6'3". I would guess around 200, 195. So he's going to be a player in this as well. Can he use his size to really carve out something for himself? Get him like 12 points a game. Josiah Thomas, to me, I think is going to be the one that can determine how well Norman North plays offensively, because he's going to have to handle the ball against pressure. He's going to have to get them into their offense when he's under duress a lot of the time during the game because of how Southmoore likes to extend and play its defense. They've got gritty defenders, of course, led by Tyson Pogai, who is no slouch on the defensive side. So they're both athletic. I think they're going to see the majority of the time against each other. And I think if Josiah Thomas can have a really good game, especially making an impact defensively, slowing down whichever Southmoore guard he is tasked to guard, that can really turn the game in Norman North's favor. So keep an eye on that.
So we have matchups coming your way on the basketball side, KREFsports.tv tomorrow night, and some other things that we didn't get to that happened over the weekend. The Yukon girls pom team won the national championship in Orlando.
Hey.
We saw a video that went around, the announcement that they found out they won first place. It came from Kenneth Heatsman on Twitter, who caught the moment. He had a daughter on the team as well, and this is what it sounded like.
2025 Large Varsity Division I Game Day National Champions, Yukon High School. And right now, let's hear it one more time for your 2025 National Champions, Yukon High School.
Grayson, pretty special moment for Yukon girls pom. I know we don't get to broadcast or cover the pom team, but Parker Lane does some coaching shows at Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm sure he'll have the Yukon team at Buffalo Wild Wings. But man, that's a pretty cool moment for Yukon.
That's pretty dope. I mean, anytime you win a natty, I know you and I are not well versed in the world of pom, clearly.
Not the greatest pom minds in the world.
But no, anytime you can go somewhere and win a natty, I mean, that's some pretty dope stuff.
And lastly, we want to shout out all the athletes who signed on National Signing Day yesterday. It's always a special moment for them to see all their hard work pay off over the 13 schools that we have on KREFsports.tv. Well, my name's Connor Pasby, Grayson Singleton. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next week on the KREF High School Huddle.